What is sin? When used in a religious context, sin is the act of violating God's will by going beyond the bounds of his commandments. Sin can also be viewed as any thought or action that endangers the ideal relationship between an individual and God. 1 John chapter 3 verses 4 states that whoever commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. So what does that mean? We act contrary to or without regard for the law. How do people look at sin? Tonight, I would like to discuss different ways people look at sin. Number 1, some see sin through dark sunglasses. Sunglasses keep out the unwanted and harmful rays put off by the sun. For example, the sunlight can get into your eyes while driving and prevent you from seeing the road properly. But they can also keep you from seeing everything you need to see. Number 2, some see sin through rose-colored glasses. In James chapter 1, verses 22 through 23, we read, "But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like." People will say, "I don't see anything wrong with it." They see through their rose-colored glasses what they want to see. Just saying something is right does not make it right. Isaiah chapter 5 verses 20 states, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." Number 3, others may see sin through a telescope. A telescope is good for seeing things really far off. Some cannot focus on the plank in their own eye, but they can clearly see the speck in someone else's eye from far off. Matthew chapter 7 verses 3 through 5 states, "And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me remove the speck from your eye,' and look, a plank is in your own eye, hypocrite? First remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." We are responsible for our sin. Number 4, some see sin through a magnifying glass. Some say, "I cannot forget my sins," or "I cannot forgive myself of the sins I have committed in the past." If the Christian has done what the Lord instructs him to do, then his sins are forgiven and forgotten. Philippians chapter 3 verses 13 through 15 states, "Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things that are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Jesus Christ." The reason sin is viewed differently is mainly because of the way each individual has been taught. Paul was blinded on the road to Damascus. Why? Turn to Acts chapter 22, verses 3 through 10. Acts chapter 22, verses 3 through 10. "I am indeed a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, taught according to the strictness of our fathers' law, and was zealous toward God, as you are all today. I persecuted this way to the death, blinding and delivering into prisons both men and women, as also the high priest bears me witness, and all the council of the elders, from whom I also received letters to the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring in chains even those who were there to Jerusalem to be punished. Now it happened, as I journeyed and came near Damascus, at about noon, suddenly a great light from heaven shone around me, and I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, 'Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?' So I answered, 'Who are you, Lord?' And he said to me, 'I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting.' And those who were with me indeed saw the light, and they were afraid. But they did not hear the voice of him who spoke to me. So I said, What shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said to me, Arise and go to Damascus, and there you will be told all things which are appointed for you to do. Saul thought he was doing right, but found that he was sinning. He was doing contrary to Jesus. So what is the best way to look at sin? Through regular glasses. Although physically some of us do not have 20/20 vision, spiritually we do not. All Christians sin and fall short of the glory of God. The devil will try to blur the difference between right and wrong, and we must use God's word as our glasses to see sin.